Posted by you, Listen Sweet. Entitled Cousin thinks his daughter needs to play with my collector doll. EC equals entitled Cousin LEE equals limited edition. EC and I are close, and I love him dearly. But he spoils his daughter rotten and lets her do whatever she wants ever since he got divorced. As a result, she's kind of a brat. I collect Disney Store dolls, and every time they come over, his daughter sneaks into my room and plays with my dolls. I didn't want to say anything, but she plays roughly with dolls and has messed up their hair on a few and broken a leg off of one. So, I bought some other dolls and gave them for her to play with, so she didn't grab any of mine. Recently, I bought a limited edition doll. They are expensive and a collector's item. I placed the LE doll high up on the shelf, and always closed the door to where I stored the dolls because it was common for EC and his daughter to come over with no notice. Yesterday, EC and his kid came over, and daughter went straight to where I stored my dolls. She saw the LE doll and wanted to play with it, attempting to climb the shelf. Me. Oh no hun, don't do that. You'll get yourself hurt, daughter. But I wanna play with that doll. Points to LE doll. Me. Oh, sorry dear, but you can't play with that doll. It's very expensive and she isn't meant to be played with. EC. Are you serious? It's a doll. It's a kid's plaything. Me. Look, it's fine if she plays with the other dolls, I don't care, but she can't play with that one. It's an LE doll, and it's a collector's item. Daughter. Daddy, I want that doll. At this point, she was about to throw a tantrum. Me. I'm sorry. But hey. Why don't you play with the other dolls I gave you? They're much better than that doll. Daughter. No, it isn't. I want it now. EC. Always with your toys cuz. Let her play with it, she's not gonna mess it up. Me. Now getting angry EC. She can play with any other doll except that one. Please respect that. Daughter began throwing a temper tantrum at this point because I was the only other person besides her mom to utter the awful, horrid, disgraceful word of, no. EC. I'll get it myself then. All my daughter wants is to play with a toy. I tried to stop EC, but once he put his weight on the shelf, it fell. A mess of dolls was on the floor. At this point I was pissed. I grabbed the LE doll before his daughter could and told them to leave. EC just rolled his eyes at me, said I was immature and left, slamming the door. My aunt, mom of EC, came over to help me pick and set everything up again. She apologized for her son's behavior. I told her it wasn't her fault, and I took her to a nice restaurant as thanks. Over dinner, she told me that this wasn't the first time EC had done this. His daughter broke a vase which was important to my grandfather, and EC blamed grandfather for not putting it somewhere safe just a week ago. Haven't heard from EC since the incident, and I honestly hope I don't for a while. Edit. Thank you all so much for your feedback and support. Unfortunately, while I was inspecting all my dolls, some of them were damaged. Not to mention the shelf wasn't sturdy either. The weight and fall affected it. I sent EC links to all of the dolls he and his daughter damaged, plus a new shelf, and explained to him that he is going to replace all the things he has damaged. Haven't gotten a reply yet, but I will update if I do. Now on to some comments before the update, posted by Snoowords 4839. Don't let them in your home. You can visit them or not see them. EC is raising a brat and he can deal with her all on his own. Posted by AdSignal 2021. Either bring your own toys when you come over to my house or stay the freak away from my house. D4 Everman responded with, I'd be leaning towards stay the freak away from my house. Posted by excellent_at1132. She has already broken some of your collector dolls. Go onto eBay or wherever and repurchase one of the more expensive dolls. Then hand him the bill. Tell him from now on, every time the brat destroys one of your dolls that she should not touch, you will give him the bill to repurchase it and expect him to actually pay it or he and his spawn will not be allowed into your house. Maybe when it starts coming out of his pocket he will learn to say no to his spawn. OP responded with, some dolls were unfortunately damaged and the shelf as well, and I just sent him the links to all the dolls and a new shelf and said he would have to pay for them. Currently awaiting his reply, but I'll be sure to update. Now on to the update. On mobile, apologies for formatting. This situation has been rather messy to say the least. First off, I wanted to thank you all for your support and advice. It was greatly appreciated. Some of you suggested I tell him to pay for the dolls his daughter damaged, and I did so. I can't post images on this sub, so I'll just transcribe it here. Me. Hey, EC, your daughter and you damaged some of my dolls and even my shelf. I'm gonna need you to pay for the damaged items. I send him links here. Disney Store dolls are not cheap, especially the Prince dolls, which are hard to come by. And those were among the ones he damaged. EC. Are you kidding? I don't have that kind of money for your little doll collection. This wouldn't have happened in the first place if you just let my daughter play with one of your dolls, among the dozens you have. Me. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't raise your daughter to be so entitled. I get it. Divorce is hard for any kid, but giving her everything she wants isn't gonna help. Try therapy. EC. You think you can tell me how to raise my kid? Go ahead and freak yourself. Don't tell me how to parent, and I'm not paying for your stupid freaking toys. Me. EC. I will take this to small claims court if I have to. Pay what you damaged, it's easier. And sorry to break it to you, but I think if I need to tell you what to do to raise your kid, your daughter has become a problem for the family. I was boiling angry at this point, and EC didn't reply for a while. Then I heard a knock at my door. I checked the peephole and I saw a very pissed off EC. He was pounding on the door and said if I had a problem with his little girl, I need to say it to his face. He then began to try to open the door and screamed obscenities at me. I got scared at this point, but luckily my older brother who I lived with pulled into the driveway, and with the threat of calling the police and a baseball bat, EC left. I told EC's mom, my aunt, about this and she wanted to set up an intervention. She didn't want her son acting like this and didn't raise him to be so violent and an entitled parent, she told me. Anyway, just yesterday, Aunt, my older brother, and EC's ex-wife invited him to my aunt's house to settle this. Shortened story of the showdown that went down. Aunt started by saying she expected better of him, and his ex-wife said that giving their daughter everything she wants is not healthy. She was going to have some serious issues with men growing up if a lot of women in her life said no and her dad said yes. A screaming match between EC and his ex-wife ensued after he said that, but his aunt managed to calm them down. I told EC all I wanted was for him to pay the damages he's done, or I take it to court. After a lot of convincing from my aunt, he did replace all the dolls and the shelf he damaged. I've had enough of EC's BS at this point, and I got what I needed, so my brother and I left. His ex-wife told me that it was all just a big argument from there and that she wanted to try to get custody of their daughter after I told her that he tried to get into my house. She said that he was prone to violent outbursts but didn't have any evidence when the divorce came. Lucky for her, I have outdoor cameras as I do order expensive dolls and porch pirates are common where we live, and I have footage of EC trying to get into my house. I gave her the footage, and if I needed to testify in court I would. I've decided I don't want a relationship with EC anymore, especially after all this. For now, I'm just setting up my new shelf smiley face. Now onto some comments, posted by Moon96Moon. Honestly, I hope the ex-wife gets full custody of the kid. He's not good at parenting, but it's not too late for the girl to grow up to be a good person. Maywell Flower responded with, especially since he gave his ex the only ammunition in court by trespassing on OP's property after he and their child caused so much damage in OP's home. He burned bridge with so many of his family members that some of them would gladly testify on the ex's behalf to have his custody removed. Bamboozled_platypus responded with, seriously, for the kid's sake, I hope mom gets custody. Maybe, just maybe, the kid can be a functioning adult. FL Sun responded with, lol, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall when he walked into his mom's house. The door opens and there's mom waiting to rip him a new asshole. But then his ex walks into the room, and he sees mom and the ex are allies. So, what does Papa Einstein do? Does he try to settle it amicably? Not a chance. He does the equivalent of pulling the pin on a grenade and stuffing it in his pocket. Thank you for watching, listening to my video. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to my channel. Everything Reddit in order to get notifications for future videos.